Having a great credit score is very important. However, what is also incredibly important is to have a large credit limit. This will help you to borrow more at less interest and on more favorable conditions. This is how I managed to increase my credit limit by 5 times in just 3 months. The answer is very counterintuitive, but let's figure it out together. Yeah. Let's start by defining some terms. The credit limit is the maximum amount a financial institution is willing to give you to play around with. So when you just open, say, a credit card with a bank you never banked with before, they are skeptical. They look at you like, I'm just gonna give you $200 to play around with and I'll see how you do. And from there on, you are building your relationship with the bank, trying to show to the bank how much money you have, because the bank doesn't know, it can't find out that information, and you are showing how responsible you are with money. From everyone on the internet, you will learn that to grow your credit limit, you just need to grow your credit score. They go hand in hand. And to grow your credit score, all you need is to keep your utilization low, below 20% of your credit limit. So if your credit limit is $200, you don't want to spend more than $40. And you want to pay everything on time without paying any percentages. Although this is true, credit limit actually plays a very important role in your credit score. And the bigger your credit limit, presumably more than $20,000 is a good start, the better your credit score will be. The question is how you're actually going to grow your credit limit if you actually are not using the money that you are given. And here there are 2 options that you have. Option number 1 is the one I followed when I started. I opened as many credit cards as I can. At the moment, I have 11 credit cards with a combined credit limit of just $25,000. Having multiple credit cards is very important for you, and the reason behind it is the payment history, which makes up about 60 to 65% of your credit score. And the more payment history you have, the better your credit score will be, and harder it will be for you to damage it with some action that you don't even know will damage your credit score. The way it works is if you have 1 credit card, you can make only 12 on-time payments in a year, because duh. And if you have 5 credit cards, guess what? You can make 60 credit card payments on time in a year. And for a credit score system, the way they will look at it is that there is one person who made 12 on-time payments, fair enough, another one who made 60. Who would you trust more? The logic will dictate that probably the guy with 60 payments on time will take the trophy here. Moving to the next point, consider hitting the like button underneath this video and subscribing to the channel if you like what you see, of course. And now to the next point. Several credit cards are also great for your credit limit, because if you have 1 card, your starting balance is probably about, $200, $500. But if you have 5 credit cards and each of them have a starting balance of, say, $200, then suddenly your credit limit overall is $1,000, which is the information that is shared between the bank. And then suddenly, in the eyes of each institution, we have 2 people. One who has 1 credit card and who's made 12 on-time payments, and his credit limit is $200, and another person who has 60 on-time payments and an overall credit limit of $1,000. Who do you think will get a larger increase on their credit limit and more favorable terms in this scenario? Clearly the person who makes more on-time payments and has a larger credit limit, because the banks trust him more, not only because he can show that he can manage money well, but because other banks trust him too, and that's very important. So if you have 5 different banks that lend you money versus a person who has only 1 bank that lends him money, other banks feel more secure because they know that there are other financial institutions who are trusting you with their money, which means that you are probably a safer bet than somebody who only has 1 bank to back them up. This is option 1, to have several credit cards. Option 2 is the one I found out recently and actually can help you much faster than having several credit cards. But if you apply second principle with having several credit cards, Jesus Christ, your credit limit will be unstoppable along with your credit score. Number 2 is super counterintuitive. It is maximizing your credit card. And if you go online anywhere, everyone will tell you never maximize your credit card because it will damage your score. And this is 100% correct. My score recently dropped by 160 points because I've maxed out several of my credit cards. So the question is how maxing out your credit card will actually help you to grow your credit limit. Well, For this to make sense, you need to understand two things. The first thing is your statement date, and that's when the credit card company creates your statement and says, this is how much you owe us, you need to pay us this much by this date. Your statement date is also the date when your credit card company sends the information across to a credit reporting agency, which is your Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. On this report, it says how much money you have spent out of your credit limit and how much you owe to the credit card company. If on this date you have more than 20% of your credit limit outstanding to the credit card company, it is a problem, and credit reporting agency will count it as a negative and downgrade your credit score. However, if it is at 0, it's also not good. It means for a credit reporting agency that you're not using your credit card, and it will downgrade you as well. So you need to be somewhere between 1% and 20%. Ideally, 10% will be perfect for everyone. Next thing is easy to understand with an example. Say your statement date is the 1st of every month. Say on the 1st of January, the credit card company did the report, send it to credit reporting agency. Now you have 30 days to do whatever you want with your credit card without the credit reporting agency knowing about it. So in this time, you can play around with the money. Say your limit is $200. So what you want to do is maximize your credit card, just spend $200, and then once the balance clears on the app and it shows you lost $200, boom, clear it up straight away. Then do it again, clear it up, do it again, clear it up, and make sure that by the 1st or whatever your statement date is, it's different for all companies, for all people. So make sure you know what your statement date is. By the statement date, make sure you don't have more than 20% of your credit limit on the credit card. So if you have $200 credit limit, make sure that $40 or less are on your credit card. What this will do, it will tell your credit card company, it's like, look, you gave me $200, fair enough, but it's not enough. I can easily clear it off. I'm spending it like spare change, so give me more money. And what credit card company wants to do, it wants to give you the maximum amount of credit limit possible, because it wants to find out what is the limit for you when you're gonna stop closing it off in full and when you will start actually spreading the cost so that they can charge you interest and make some money from it. That's the end game. So if you're spending $200 and closing it off, it's not good for a credit card company. They are lending you money for nothing. So they will increase it, say to $400. You do the same thing next month and spend $400, close it off, spend $400, close it off. They're like, $400 is nothing to him. Let's give him $1,000. You do that, the same thing happens. And you keep doing that until you reach the point where you can't just spend, $10,000 every month and then close it off quite quickly. So here is where your credit card company is like, aha, that's kind of the sweet spot where he is kind of at the point where he will be going to spread the payments and pay us some interest. So what they will do, they will increase it some more, say from 10,000 to 12,000 or 15,000, because they're still trying to find that sweet spot where you're going to start paying interest. And this works in your favor because you can increase your credit limit quite quickly by maximizing your credit card and not being penalized for it by the credit reporting agency, because on the statement date, your balance is within the 20% range. This sounds super counterintuitive and downright dodgy, but I have 11 credit cards and on 2 of them I run the experiment. That was credit cards for bad credit, by the way, Vanquish and Aqua. And I've started with the same credit limit, £500 on each. Guess what? 9 months down the line, my credit limit on Vanquish recently increased to £800. Whereas on Aqua, it went to £3,600. So I more than 5 times my credit limit on the credit card because I frequently max it out, but I make sure I don't have more than 20% of my credit limit used on the statement date. And what this means is that in the same time that I've been maxing out my credit card and growing my credit limit, my credit score continued to grow. My credit score experience during this time went from, I think, about 500 to 925. So the system works if you follow the right rules. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you liked it and learned something new. If you did, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and comment down below. Let me know what your credit score is. What is your tactics to increase your credit limits or your credit score? I would love to know. And guess what? I'll give them a try because I have 11 credit cards. I can play around as much as I feel like it. So thank you very much for watching again, and I'll see you in the next one.
We gotta make them right, chillin' with mine. We triple up, they on the double up, triple dub. Came from the basement, we only going up. They loving us. Up in the booth, I'm getting dizzy, but they the cup is up. Toast to my people that's on the come up, and you live with us.